wake up every morning in a house that was built by slaves. And I watch my daughters, two beautiful, intelligent black young women, playing with their dogs on the White House lawn. And because of Hillary Clinton, my daughters and all our sons and daughters now take for granted that a woman can be president of the United States.
An emotional moment there from First Lady Michelle Obama's speech to this crowd.
Absolutely. President Obama tweeting directly after that incredible speech by an incredible woman. Couldn't be more proud of our country, has been blessed to have her as FLOTUS. I love you, Michelle. He actually said, I love you on Twitter. Most dudes would never do that. President of the United States does not, you know, he's going to do it.
So before I ask you, Nancy, about her speech, let's show the cover of the New York Daily News tomorrow. This is how her speech was received and her message was received. It reads, "The lady is her champ," with the H being the H from the Hillary Clinton campaign logo.
That's why the lady is her champ.
Oh, we're back. And we're back. And we're back to theater camp.
All right. So, Nancy, what did you make of her remarks?
So what I thought was interesting about this speech was you're going to hear a lot of politicians this week talk about what a great politician Hillary Clinton is and what a great president she'll be. But it was very different to hear a mother talking from a mother's point of view about why Hillary Clinton would be a good president. That's a completely different kind of speech. And the argument that she made basically was that, you know, for her children sitting at home and for other children who are sitting at home hearing some of Donald Trump's rhetoric, you know, that as a mother she worries about, you know, what messages those kids are getting, and that she's very proud when she listens to Hillary and she feels like, you know, Hillary would be a good role model. And I think you see on those women there, what was so interesting is I was standing down on the floor, and when she said, "I love knowing that my daughters now know that they can be president someday because of Hillary Clinton," every woman around me, I don't know whether they were Clinton supporters or Bernie Sanders supporters, but every woman around me, I would say, you know, age 40 on up, had tears in their eyes instantly when she said that.
So Dan Pfeiffer, really quickly, former senior advisor to President Obama, tweeted after her remarks saying, "This is why FLOTUS was called the closer in the 2008 campaign."
Well, sort of what struck me of all the speeches in the RNC and in prime time, and thus far in the DNC, this was the only speech, or at least the most optimistic speech. And it feels like, so Trump's campaign is sort of predicated on painting America as a basket case or on the verge of becoming Venezuela, basically, right? And so that's sort of a pessimistic campaign. And I don't think Hillary Clinton, she doesn't strike me as terribly optimistic. I don't think she's going to run, a Ronald Reagan, sunny, you know, optimistic campaign. But this speech did feel like, I mean, she said flat out, she said America's the greatest country. She said it a few times. And it was striking and beautiful to hear that.
One of the things that Steve Shigaris and I were talking about all day today is we wondered if she was going to make any reference to the Melania Trump speech. I said that she wasn't going to do that. Yeah. Steve bet me a fresca that she might make a small remark. But on Twitter, which I'm always monitoring, one of the best tweets I saw, Nancy, I don't know if you saw this, somebody tweeted and said, "Looking forward to hearing this speech at the RNC in 4 years."
Well, while this speech was actually going on, Melania was driving around singing Stevie Wonder with James Corden. No, but you know, Nancy, when you were saying the whole thing about like Hillary Clinton makes it clear that a woman can be president, I think didn't she actually say? She said because of Hillary Clinton, sons and daughters take it for granted that a woman can be president, which to me felt kind of crafty and strategic because it's a sort of a reminder to people the frustration the campaign feels, right? That young women don't seem to think it's a big deal. They are taking it for granted, and it's kind of a way of saying it is a big deal.
It's also crafty because it's a message to independent female voters out there that hey, I don't know how you feel about Hillary Clinton, but I bet you feel great about a woman being president of the United States. And especially when the messenger is Michelle Obama, whose approval ratings are higher probably than her husband's and definitely higher than Hillary Clinton's.
That's been a tricky thing for Hillary Clinton to try and highlight, because during, for instance, the primary campaigns, we heard Hillary Clinton actually get some criticism for, repeating Madeleine Albright about the notion that women should vote for other women and do things for just because you're female. But now here we have other people making that case about the historic nature. We heard that from Tim Kaine, too, in that 60 Minutes interview.
Right, and that's a case that Clinton herself has been pretty reluctant to make. She's worried about turning her campaign into, this sort of one-note, I'm trying to make history, won't you try to help me make history? And I deserve this because I would make history. And I think, there's a great concern that if you go down that path too much, that suddenly you sound like, you're asking people to elect you because you are a woman, not, to elect you based on your qualifications. And so that's something that Clinton has been really careful about. In fact, today she was campaigning in North Carolina with some veterans, and she did mention it. She said, look, I know that it's a little weird to think of a woman as commander-in-chief. Frankly, it's still a little weird for me, which I'm guessing it's not all that weird for her. But, it probably sounds, pretty good and pretty humble with this group. But, she's had many years to get used to the idea of being commander-in-chief. So,
and during Michelle Obama's speech, I thought she never referred to Donald Trump directly, but there were a couple of lines in there. She did say at one point, the problems the president faces aren't black and white and can't be boiled down to 140 characters. That got a huge round of applause. And then she said, don't ever let someone tell you this country isn't great. That sort of brought the house down.
Yeah.
And then early on, she said something talking about people questioning her daughter's, their father's citizenship and religion. And you could, that had like a... sort of... and I think that, when we saw her come out, we knew this was going to be something sort of historic. They had these Michelle signs. I don't know if we can show the crowd while the First Lady is talking there. They had these, like, purple Michelle signs that everybody was waving. I mean, you were down there, Nancy.
Yeah, and I mean, whether you're a fan, again, of Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton, pretty much everybody down there is a fan of Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of excitement for her speech, and that's kind of like a staple of Democratic and Republican conventions going back decades. You didn't have that many signs this time around.
And look, we actually have one. We have a prop. I don't know how you guys did that, but we have one here.
Very cool.
Look at that.
Yeah, there you go.
That was nice.
See, right?
So this is what people were holding up.
This is what people were holding up.
That's
and
nice.
so, and of course, at the bottom, HillaryClinton.com. Just in case you're not clear, HillaryClinton.com.
Right.
Right. By the way,
Brought to you by HillaryClinton.com.
I think they should have had a sign for Bernie Sanders that said "Hillary loves Bernie." Like the remember the old TV show?
That's right.
Bridget loves Bernie.
Why didn't? That's a good. We should get an Nancy.
Let's maybe it's a process.
One word, by the way, that they keep that is going to keep coming up to describe Hillary Clinton is tenacious, like tenacity and tenacious, and it seems like an accurate word. I'm not sure how inspiring that is. Tenacity is good, but it's not a very lofty
that's been her
word.
challenge all along, going up against Bernie Sanders, because he was, thinking big and, and dreaming big, and that was very inspiring, and that's just not Clinton's MO. Her MO is to say, you know what, I don't want to overpromise. Here's what I think I can do, and vote for me because I've got really great experience. So, people may believe that, but that doesn't get them running out to the polls. Experience.
Yeah.
But Mo, you talked about something interesting. You were talking about we were all in Cleveland last week. Did you guys see? I don't want to humble brag, but you see, I had Jerry Springer up in CBSN.
I did see that. How did that go?
It went amazing, and he was he was just really interesting. And at one point,
what was he doing at the RNC?
He was invited by the Ohio delegation. You remember he used to be mayor of Cincinnati back in the day.
Right.
Okay.
And then he had a hooker scandal, right? No, was it? Sorry, that's right. Yeah.
That part I don't remember.
Get the CBSN
let's get the fact checkers on that.
I think he paid for a hooker with a check or something.
What?
No, somebody check. Is that right?
Let's fact check
if
that.
Not, we apologize to Jerry Springer.
Exactly. But here's what he said. He said that the Republican.
Jerry Springer. He's going to be okay with that.
Two things.
Oh my God!
And I don't know if we have any sound from that, but two things that he told me. One is that the Republicans should cut him a check because they clearly copied his show from the Jerry Springer show,
right.
What he saw last week. And I just sort of pressed him and I said, our political discourse in this country has gotten much crasser over the last couple of years. Do you feel any responsibility for that? And he said, he's like, my show is the worst piece of garbage on television, but I don't think that the people on my show should run for president.
Right.
And so,
yeah, 2 thumbs up.
Mo Rocca.
Mo Rocca.
Yes. On
Our
Jerry
fact,
Springer.
so just fact check. Mo Rocca, right?
Who
Wow.
knew?
Yeah.
Mo Rocca.
He knows his prostitution scandals.
I absolutely do.
Can we elevate this discourse a little bit? Can I ask you about Michelle Obama again?
Yes.
Though?
Okay.
I wonder, is there a lesson there for Hillary Clinton in the way in which Mrs. Obama made the case for candidate Clinton? Anything that she can take away from that?
I mean, I think she can take away from it that it's great to have surrogates on the campaign trail who are not politicians, because they can talk about you in a different way than Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders or Barack Obama or, even Tim Kaine can talk about you. That's a tricky thing. Michelle Obama has license to sort of talk in a way that that most politicians who would be out there on the campaign trail wouldn't. But there's no question that the more people Hillary Clinton can have out there vouching for her character, the better, because, she has this big problem right now, which is that, she's viewed with suspicion by a certain percentage of the electorate. I think having Tim Kaine out there with her will help. Part of the problem was that because her race against Bernie Sanders went so long into June, and even then he wasn't really wrapping it up, that you had a lot of prominent Democrats who wanted to get out there for her, were sort of chafing at the bit, but felt that they needed to stay neutral. They needed to stay on the sidelines out of respect for him. And so that meant that she was kind of running alone in a lot of ways for the better part of a year. And I think that was not beneficial to her.
Let me ask you guys about another inspiring, a speech that I thought got a lot of interesting, it was right before prime time, Senator Cory Booker. What did you think of, it struck me as, and people on Twitter were saying, look, we may be hearing more from him at the presidential level in 2024.
Because he's a nice guy. I've met him a few times. I thought the speech went on a little too long.
Oh.
Okay. All right. So hang on. Hold that thought.
Yeah,
we're going to continue our conversation about that. But as we go to break here, let's listen to a little bit more from First Lady Michelle Obama.
I want someone with the proven strength to persevere, someone who knows this job and takes it seriously, someone who understands that the issues a president faces are not black and white and cannot be boiled down to 140 characters. Look, because when you have the nuclear codes at your fingertips and the military in your command, you can't make snap decisions. You can't have a thin skin or a tendency to lash out. You need to be steady and measured and well-informed.